Imagine being 15 years old, full of dreams and possibilities, and in a split second, everything changes. That's exactly what happened to Jessica Haber when a car accident left her paralyzed from the waist down. But that wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning of new one. Through inner strength, faith, and unshakable positive spirit, Jessica rebuilt her life, finding love, getting married, and becoming a mom. Her journey is a powerful reminder that hope and determination can turn even the darkest moments into light. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Bharti. Thanks
How
for
are
having
you?
me. Very
Of
good. How
course.
are you?
I know we've been waiting to record you, have this podcast with you. And when I first talked to you, it was so emotional, so inspirational, to hear your story.
Thank
And
you.
I cannot wait to, talk all about it with you today. Finally.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to speaking with you.
Of course. Um, so, Jessica, we're going to start with a few questions and then go over, your journey. So, my
Sure.
first question is take us back to life before the accident. What was a 15-year-old you like just before turning 16? What were your dreams back then?
Well, I mean, I was young. I was 15. So, typical stubborn, hormonal teenage girl. So, hanging out with friends, doing stuff with family, nothing too crazy at that time. Uh, I was in high school and had a pretty typical suburban teenage life. At that time, I thought I wanted to be a flight attendant because I always wanted to travel the world and see things, and I thought that would be really cool. I don't know if that still would have been what I wanted to do as I got older, either way, but at that time, that was what I thought I wanted to do.
Nice. Moving to the next one, which is an important question. Can you share what you remember vividly about that day and the moments right after that accident? Also, when you first learned you were paralyzed, what went through your mind and what helped you to begin the process that reality?
Sure. I actually have a lot of memories from that day. Obviously, it was a memorable one in my life. So that day, my parents and my younger siblings were going to the aquarium, but I was, too cool to go with them. And I was going to hang out with my friends. So we had planned a girls' night out. And again, we were 15 and 16 years old. And I borrowed an outfit from my friend and we all got dressed up. And eight of us got into a little two-door car, and again, it was a different time, it was 30 something years ago, so we don't do that now. But we piled into the car, and I was the smallest, so I was laying across the back seat, across my friends' laps. And I remember hearing someone scream, and I probably got up to see what was going on. And then the next thing I remember, I was laying on the street, and there was a woman kneeling over me, just trying to keep me calm. I couldn't feel my legs. I thought my legs got cut off. I mean, it's a really strange sensation.
Feeling.
And, it's not something you ever expect to happen. So she just stayed with me. I'm not sure how long. I don't remember going to the hospital, but I remember being in an emergency room. At that point, my boyfriend was there, my parents were there, everybody around me was crying. It was very emotional. And the doctor, they had to cut my clothes off, and I said, "You can, it's my friend's outfit." Like my, you're not really thinking too clearly. Um, so, yeah, that I remember like very vividly specific things, and then I remember nothing. And uh, after that, I guess I blacked out or they put me out, and I went into an 11-hour surgery. So they did a back surgery on me, tried to repair my spinal cord, put rods in my back, and I woke up, I guess, the next day, which is when they told me and my parents that I was paralyzed and I wouldn't walk again. And I do remember my mom yelling at the doctor and throwing him out of the room because she didn't want me to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I mean, it was traumatic, obviously, but at the same time, I think it was so unbelievable that I just I didn't believe it. Like, I was like, this can't be real, you know? Um, so yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it happened. And it's just obviously not something you ever expect in life,
Mm-hmm.
especially at that age when you think you're invincible and nothing could ever go wrong. So, it was really hard to accept and really just understand. Like, it just didn't make sense to me at the time.
Right. And you told me that you were about to turn 16, like pretty much around the same time, right?
Yeah, a couple of months later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I cannot even imagine. What happened to your friends who were in the car with you?
Um, let's see. The driver had, a huge slice across her face. Everybody lived, which was a miracle, and very
Right.
thankful for that. Everybody had some sort of injury, and for the most part, and luckily, most of them were very minor. So it was really, I
Mm-hmm.
think I got the brunt of it,
You
unfortunately.
got the most of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Oh my
for
God.
sure.
Okay, let's move towards like a more deeper question. What
Sure.
were some of the toughest emotional and physical challenges you faced during your recovery, especially going
Um,
back to school with your condition?
yeah.
Also, how your loved ones played a role in helping you getting back.
I think it's really hard to pinpoint specific things. I mean, literally in a split second, my whole life changed physically and emotionally. I mean, I was at that age, you go through so many changes, even without that, your body's going through so many changes and emotions. So, uh, on top of that, I mean, physically, everything changed. After I had my surgery, I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks, and then I went to a rehab center. I couldn't move back to my house because I couldn't get in my house. So, my parents had to do construction and make my home accessible. Um, my bathroom, my bedroom, my shower, the front door. I mean, everything changed. And as far as school was concerned, my school wasn't wheelchair accessible. They never had anyone in a wheelchair before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was that happened right before my sophomore year in high school. So I had to be homeschooled for the whole year
Mm.
because they needed to also make accommodations for me at school. So that part really kind of was rough because I was home for a year, you know, and uh, not really socializing in school. Although looking back, it might have been a good thing. I had more time to process and get comfortable. Um, and I still had a lot of my friends, were still around and they were with me, even though I wasn't in school socially. I still had a circle. I still had friends and family, but physically, I felt like I didn't fit in. You know, not that I lived in a small town, but, fairly small. And in a high school with over 1,000 kids, when I finally did go back, I was the only one in a wheelchair, so
Mm.
it's like no matter where I was or who I was with or how comfortable I felt with my people, physically I always felt out of place. And that was something that I really had to learn to process and deal with and work through. And still to this day, like I'm kind of always a minority wherever I am. So I'm used to it now, but it's
Mm.
still, it's still
I mean,
weird.
as a young kid, it must be really, really tough for you. And
It
how did your
was.
family support you during this time?
My family was amazing. They really, I think what they did, whether they realized it or not at the time, was they really just never treated me any differently. Everybody kind of, it, for the most part, went on like nothing happened, if that makes sense. Like I was the same person. They never lowered their expectations of me and never put pity on me, and kind of encouraged me to live my life and continue and grow as a person and as a woman, and
Mhm.
didn't, didn't want me to feel like I had to be held back because of my disability. And I don't know if that was my family's way of dealing with it, and they did it excuse me, that was their way to handle it. And in the long run, I think it was the best thing for me, because it really forced me to get out there and not sit and um,
Feel
be in
sad
my,
about it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was the love for you, I believe, that they
Oh,
had.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And did
was
you
surrounded.
feel, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's I was surrounded by, fortunately, a lot of love, and I had a lot of support. My family was there for me. My close friends who are still around to this day, they were there for me, and they too never really treated me different. They brought me out to parties, they made me go to the mall. Like there was everything was, for the most part the same.
Positive. Did you
Yeah.
face any bullying by any kids in the school?
Uh, yes, but most of it was behind my back, which obviously I knew about, but not so much to my face, which I guess makes it better.
Right.
And that's something that kind of bothered me. But again, I had a lot of support around me, and people weren't letting me get bullied, if that.
Okay. 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 Great. We're going to move it to the next topic about your further life, which is you went on to find a job, love, getting married, you became a mom, all things many might have told you were impossible. Uh,
Hmm.
what was that journey like for you?
It was hard. uh, I mean, I think everyone in life has some sort of struggle or something that holds them back or makes you feel like less than, or, we all deal with something. Mine happens to be physical.
Hmm.
So, and emotional. But it was hard, I think, partly for myself and partly for a lot of the people and situations I faced in life. I had to work harder and push harder to prove myself, either to myself or to those around me.
Hmm.
A lot of times, because of the way I look, people assume I'm not capable of doing certain things or being able to accomplish things. And I think over time that made me stronger, and it made me a better person, because I know I can do those things, and proving that either to myself or others just pushes me to want to accomplish more and work harder.
Hmm. Hmm. So that's the job part. Talk about the family part. Like, how did you find your husband and how was your life after marriage with kids?
Um, it, well, I met my husband when I was younger, and we met through friends, and he just never really looked at me any differently. He loved me for who I was. I met him obviously after I was paralyzed. So he always treated me same like everyone in my circle. Like I'm not disabled. They look at me like they look at anyone else, and he treats me that way. Um, my kids, same thing, I guess, because that's what they grew up around. Uh, Getting pregnant, going through pregnancy, being a mom to younger children. I mean, now I have two sons and they're 16 and 21.
Hmm.
But as babies and toddlers, that was crazy and hard. and amazing, obviously. But at that time, I mean, I was pregnant a long time ago, so there was no really internet or resources, so I had to figure out everything. Um, I mean, my doctors didn't really 100% know what was going to happen. I had to figure out how to get around with my kids, how to push a stroller, how to carry them, how to get them in and out of a crib. I mean, everything was another adventure and another challenge and another obstacle we had to overcome. But we did it. And my husband's great like that. He helped me figure a lot of things out. He helped me build things and make accommodations. And, I guess, having kids is never easy and everybody faces their own issues. And mine were just a little bit different. So, yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
it
lot.
looks like your husband really, was a true partner, making
Oh, for
sure,
sure.
that you're able to do what, with his help. And I remember you said something about your kids, how they became kinder seeing you, you know. Talk
Yeah.
to me about your kids, like how they perceive the world because of you, you know.
I just think they're really kind-hearted. I think they see people for who they are and not
Mm,
so much what they look like or where they come from or, those kinds of things don't matter to them. And I've seen that in the people they choose to surround themselves with. And, when they're younger and in school, they're very accepting of kids who are different or just unlike them, or um, maybe kids who aren't so accepted by the majority in school. They're always
mhm.
open to that and they're always friendly and they seem to really just want to help people and make people feel comfortable. And I believe that's because of the way they grew up and because of who I am, and who
Right.
my husband is. He's a great person and he's exactly like that. I don't think it would be different if he was with anyone else. That's just who he
Mm,
is.
very nice. Um, so for others who may be living with a similar disability, what kinds of grants, financial support, or community programs are available to help them rebuild their lives? And are there any organization or resources that may made a real difference for you personally?
Uh, yeah. I mean, again, because I was injured so long ago, I really didn't know how to find resources for a long time. And
Mm,
really until like the last 10 years or so, I found a lot more than I had ever really been able to access. There are so many resources and so many groups and small nonprofits and larger nonprofits that are out there to help. I personally have found a lot more through local community groups and local groups of people with spinal cord injuries, women in wheelchairs, like all these different little communities I found either in my local area or on social media for sure, like Facebook, and just getting out there and finding people in my situation and like me in whatever way, whether it's the same disability or certain disabilities, having peers and people to connect with has been really helpful in a lot of ways, but also in connecting with other resources. So I have in the past used grants. I got a grant from a small organization that unfortunately is no longer an organization that
mhm,
helped me make my home accessible.
mhm,
And I used a government program through vocational rehabilitation, which unfortunately very recently was cut with the government programs,
mhm.
that helped me modify my vehicle, which is so helpful because insurance doesn't pay for those kinds of things.
Correct.
So, in order to be able to have independence, get to and from work, drive my kids around, it costs more to modify a vehicle than it does, for the most part, to buy a vehicle. So, that was really helpful. And I know that um, I don't really have specific names, but I know there are so many things I've applied for and that other people have told me about, um, again, to help with making your home accessible, any kind of adaptable equipment, sporting groups, camps, and travel. I mean, there's so many things out there. I think it's just you got to look in your community and look more locally to see what you can find. And I know there's bigger things that are national, but I'm not really familiar to give out, specific names or anything like that.
Okay. So yeah, I remember from our conversation before, like I remember you said like, I wish I had more money because you need all these equipments and these kind of support for your daily routine, and I'm sure it's really helpful. So I believe, I'm hoping with this podcast, somewhere we can, promote it more and find other avenues to help people like you know.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you want to talk more about like the, financial situation of yours.
Sure. I mean, everything I need, even just for daily life and routine, is another expense. And there are people, I mean, I am a paraplegic, so I can use my hands and my upper body, which makes life much easier. And there are people that are quadriplegics, paralyzed. It's a lot harder, and the amount of care and assistance or adaptive equipment we all need is gets expensive. So again, it's always great to look for resources that can help, any kind of grants. I mean, you could Google it. There's so many out there, and just keep applying because
Mhm.
everything's expensive. And for me personally, I like to be active. I like to be outdoors, and even something like, I have a bicycle, which I love, and it costs so much money. So it's good to
Correct.
get out and live your life, but it does take a little bit of extra work and a little extra finance. So any help, any resources you can find, highly recommend it because it's important to still live your life, above and
Correct.
beyond what you just need.
Correct. I agree. Okay, I think we're moving toward the end. So my next question is, what message do you wanna give to young people, especially those facing sudden life changes, to take from your journey?
Well, I think one thing that I did is I spent a lot of time and many, many years focusing on getting better, trying to walk again. And I never really, it took me a long time to go out and live my life. I was spending a lot of time trying to fix myself and forgetting that I'm still here, I'm still alive. I was given a second chance. It could have been much worse.
Right.
And the most important thing is to live and not just be. Go out and live, find things that bring you joy, do whatever you can. Focus on the things you're able to do, focus on the things you can do, and make it positive because the more positive things you bring into your life, the more positive things you'll be able to find. And of course, there's going to be dark days and there's going to be hard times and there's going to be challenges, but that's a part of this life. And you just have to know that for every obstacle you overcome, you become stronger and it gets easier. I mean, life is for living, and you just have to be yourself because you're the same person on the inside, no matter what you are on the outside. And that's
That
what's
is so
important.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
very true, actually. That is so nice. My last question, looking ahead, what are your dreams now, and what's next for you?
Well, I am getting older, and right now, my husband and I run a small business, and I'm hoping that we can take that and work it into our retirement that's coming soon. And just really want to travel and see things, and my kids are getting older and kind of starting their own things now. So hopefully my husband and I will also be able to go on to the next step and just kind of enjoy the life we built and see what happens from there. I
How
have a
lovely.
few things in the air. I'm not really sure which direction it's going, but hopefully to where we can just enjoy each other and enjoy our family.
Beautiful. I love like how you ended it. I think it's all about enjoying life at the end of the day, no matter what situation you are in, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're here
So
for.
right. So thank you so much, Jessica. And I actually want to say something at the end. Like, to me, I think you didn't just like survived, you actually thrived under these unique circumstances. And actually, you proved that determination is far more important than any obstacle in life. And you actually, that stands true for you,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Thank you
So
so
thank you so
much.
much. Yeah. I had a great time talking to you.
Thank you. Me too. Thanks for having me. And I hope someone takes this message and does something with it. I hope it could help somebody get through a hard time in their own life.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that's the whole point of having this conversation, so that we can spread the word, spread some happiness, spread some positivity, around us.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful you were okay to be my guest, because it takes a lot of courage, to put your story out. So thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for having me. And it was very nice chatting with you.